We will give someone every opportunity to survive. We will go as long as we can, as long as we have something to work with, as long as we have good pulses with CPR, we have a rhythm to work with. We will do as much as we can, and we will consult with a physician after we've exhausted everything we've done for suggestions on what more we could do. But we will go until there's nowhere else to go.
11:44 hours. Medic response.
We received a call for a cardiac arrest at the Ann Taylor Loft at the Outlet Mall in North Bend. And Doug and I were actually the first on scene, followed quickly behind Engine 87. We ran into the loft and we saw Tammy laying on the floor with CPR in progress.
It was just a routine day. I was doing my thing. Tammy was off with our daughter and our 2 granddaughters. And then that phone call came in that changed my life in a moment.
Tony and I focused on the airway and IV so that we could start with some medications. We just go to work because that's what we were trained to do. And we have a certain number of things that we need to accomplish in a short period of time to do it.
They worked on Tammy for 25 minutes before they established a pulse, and they were giving her air, breathing for her and so forth with life support, but it took them 4 times of shocking her to get her pulse back to where her heart was beating on its own.
There's nothing that we can't do on scene that they can do at the hospital in that first 10, 20 minutes of cardiac arrest with CPR resuscitation. There was no question in my mind we were going to be either doing CPR all the way into the hospital or we were going to get pulses back, and I expected to get pulses back.
So once we've corrected the lethal rhythm that she was in with countershocks, medications, once we get a pulse and a good blood pressure back, it's time to move.
The ambulance went by me, and I was stuck in gridlock on I-90. I was trying desperately to find some way to get to Tammy. You know, at that point, we'd been married just shy of 40 years, and she's my life. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get to her in time to possibly say goodbye, and I couldn't bear the thought of that.
It was a day just like any other day. We had gone to work. We went home, got in our sweats, getting all ready for watching TV and a little dinner and that. And about a couple hours later, Lisa's crying. She says she has a headache and a neck ache. And just like that, she went unconscious and she hit the floor. I had the phone in one hand and I was doing CPR with the other hand, talking to 911. When I took her pulse, there was none. She was gone.
When we actually arrived on scene, at the time there was a patient in the living room laying on the floor with her husband providing chest compressions.
Walking in the door and seeing the firefighters at work doing CPR, looking over and seeing John, Lisa's husband, just with this look of concern on his face. Inside, we have these emotions going on too, where we're wanting to get in there, do the best we can, because this is somebody's mate.
He was very distraught, very emotional, and so part of my job was to help him with whatever he needed as well. I can't imagine what that feels like because it's never happened to me, but the look on his face was almost terror.
Several minutes had transpired as this was all going on, from us getting our line in her, getting her intubated, several rounds of CPR.
In this particular case, it was a very prolonged cardiac arrest with multiple defibrillations, using almost every single medication that we actually carry in the medic unit to maximize the likelihood of successful resuscitation.
They worked on her and worked on her and worked on her. They just kept going. It never ended. I didn't know what had happened to Lisa. I had no idea what was going on.
I've got a pulse and we have an organizer. It looks like a sinus tach about 110. Let's check a blood pressure, please.
Can we work on getting a backboard so we can work on packaging this patient for transport? And at that time, it's all about the speed of getting that patient to what we consider definitive care, which is to local emergency room so that she can be treated by the physicians there.
My husband, Duane, started explaining to me what had happened, that I had this cardiac arrest, my heart stopped beating, and our daughter, Satin, started CPR. I felt so proud of her, how brave she was and strong. It's very surprising that a cardiac arrest could just happen to anyone. It seems very unreal. I feel so blessed by being alive today. I got a second chance at life.
Medic One is a life-sustaining organization, and it's not just protecting the life of the fallen individual, but they're holding the lives together of entire families. And it's these paramedics that come forward with this amazing world-class training that are holding life in their hands and giving it back to you to continue. And that life is the glue that holds whole families together. I imagine it's not improbable that they'll touch your life someday.
I was 57 when it happened, and I don't think we think about that in life. We think about our parents as we're getting older and they're aging, and you see them move on in life and leave us. I believe that the paramedics could have at any time called it. They could have given up, because at points in this minutes I was gone. So it saves lives, and it's forever changed my life. And I want to make sure everybody knows how important Medic One and Medic One Foundation is.
The research that we've done and what they're about is amazing. I had the best in my living room. That was her best chance she could have ever had, and they were there. I'm their biggest fan. How can I not be? I will do everything that I possibly can to fund and help them in any way that I can. I have no choice. It could happen to you. It can happen to me. It can happen to our children. It can happen to anybody. But I want to be ready. And the way that I see it is to help them.